I think one of my biggest pet peeves as a trainer is seeing a lot utilize prong collars and e-collars on puppies when that should not be the focus of raising a puppy starting. That's what I call it. If you, now this is my thoughts, I consider those types of trainers and people controlling, because why in the world would you need to have a 4 to 6 month old puppy respond immediately to what you're wanting and asking when that's what training is? I've seen this trainer that trains IGP sport dogs, bite dogs. He's been doing it for, I don't even know, at least as long as I have been training. Maybe, I don't know, I'll have to look that up. One of his best dogs that he's had for like 5 or 6 years has holes in the training, and he said it, not me. He said that he's having some problems with him in training, especially trials, because, yeah, you can hate me on this, he relies on an e-collar. You can't use a freaking e-collar in trials, obviously. So how can you expect the same results to a T when you're used to pushing a button to correct, punish, redirect your dog? Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. You can use it to reward. I don't know how, but that's kind of a sarcastic, just because I loathe these tools for this reason. So he was saying he was going to have to go back to the drawing board, when in reality it's a tool issue. If you worked on your relationship, even if you told your dog no, even if you said even if you took the leash and did a leash correction, like 99% of these other belligerent trainers do, it's wild. You either have the trainers that utilize the e-collar inappropriately, yes, inappropriately, otherwise there wouldn't be issues still with the dog 5 years later, or you have the people that utilize the old school method of crank and pop and just go to town correcting them that way. So you have the old school and the old new school way of training, and I can tell you I was not about to do that to my dog. I had 2 weeks to get her trained, and she was a 10-week old Cocker Spaniel. I was 8, 9, maybe 11. I can't remember. I know I was like 9 to 11. And we had just had her like not even a full week. I dropped pizza while my parents were at work, and we had a babysitter, ironically also named Katie. I dropped the pizza. I went to go get it. The puppy grabbed it. When I went to pull it away from her, she jumped up and bit me in the chest and left a pretty big mark. So they wanted to take her and euthanize her. And I said, no, give me some time. Went to the library. Couldn't really understand at that time some of the terminology and stuff with the dog training. And it basically said to do leash corrections. So if the dog is responding in a negative way, you respond by using punishment, fear, force, etc. I didn't see anything about positive reinforcement or ways to really work with your dog in a better way. So I ended up taking her leash, tying it to a door handle, and then I put her bowl down. I took a broom that looked similar in shape to a hand, and I would brush the broom along her back or just in her area, and when she was good, not showing any reaction, I'd throw a piece of food. She loved bread, so I would also incorporate bread as her high value treat. And we did that for I think like 4 days. It wasn't even a full week, and I never had issues again. So that's not all dogs, not all puppies, but I intuitively took what I had learned from the books and just what was working. So I think if a child can somewhat figure out that some of these methods don't really work, then adults should be able to. But I ended up going several years later. My mom took me to a therapeutic riding facility where they used horses as a form of therapy for kids and adults with various disabilities. So I volunteered there for about 4 or 5 years. I was there for 15 years total. And then the last 4 years, I was a certified riding instructor. So I knew I wanted to still help people, especially with disabilities and kids. So once I moved on from there, I met my husband. So we ended up getting married. He was in the military. I started my rescue after running into someone that didn't really care about how their rescue was run. So I started my own, and we took in one dog at a time. And it was a lot nicer back then to be able to run a rescue. I was able to get a lot more community help, other rescues. It was really nice to be able to get together for the dog. So I did that on and off, and then we ended up having 2 of our own dogs and living with another couple at the time. And at that point, I didn't do rescue work because I had my daughter. And then once we moved, took some time to just enjoy my family. We had a lot of challenging things go on. And then once we moved back to California, we were there for 7 years, and we've been gone from there for 3. Those 7 years, I did my own independent rescue, worked with some other people, and just grew out there until we moved out here. And I did a little bit of rescue work, but out here is where I started my service dog training program, because it's just a whole different world out here with rescue work. The people, they're a lot harder to work with. If you aren't established, they don't care. A lot of them have attitudes, and it's just not worth getting into. And then the dogs with behaviors, the dogs that are adoptable, you have another rescue that just swoops in, takes them all. So it's a little ridiculous. So I focused on last year just everything that was crazy, figuring out pot stuff. So that's been fun, and just getting my own service dog situated. So this year I'm going to focus more on my program, getting things situated at home, since it's not as hectic and my husband's home more. So we're able to do a little bit of what we've been wanting to do. But I figured I'd post a little bit about me, since I've been wanting to and needing to. It's just, I usually have a dog with me and they distract me, so I figured this would be a good time to have a little chit chat without too many distractions. I just had too much stuff in the car, so I'm just gonna finish up this last 2 laps. I'm gonna get my free coffee, and then I've got to get Spirit bathed today so we can start taking her out. Scooby's doing well, but I have 2 dogs in heat, so he's just lost his marbles, and he's also having some issues with just being comfortable with the structure of being a service dog right now. So we're just taking things day by day. Spirit, she's been doing fantastic, so the content with service dog training will be with her, because I have another 3 or so weeks before I plan on bringing in my next program puppy. So I was trying to figure out what dog would be more appropriate, especially long term, because I have a lot going on this year. I've got to get whichever dog it was going to be working ready for traveling. So I'm just going to stick with her, and for some reason, if she ends up not working out, I'm not going to worry about a service dog for myself. Worst case, I can maybe train my husband's puppy for days that I really need, but I'm not going to worry about it. I want to focus on my program and grow that. So if it means I take a back seat to having a service dog, I have several dogs that help me at home. So it's not like I'm not getting the help that's needed, or I say wanted, but it's mostly needed at this point. And having my husband home, like I said, has been helpful too. So I'm not having to bend down as much, because that's been part of my issue, is my blood sugar has been messing me up in the morning to where I'm insanely nauseous, and it takes me like 2-3 hours to really feel better. So I kind of push through that, and then if it's not that, it's my heart rate. So I'm trying to just figure it out and not get too frustrated, but it is a little ridiculous that you're just constantly told it's anxiety, when I know what my anxiety from my CPTSD is like, and it's nowhere near like this. So figured I'd just post a little video about me and kind of where I'm at this year. We just had a lot of changes. My husband unfortunately lost his job because the person decided to not be honest and truthful on everything. So that was a bit of a shock, even though we were planning on leaving anyways, because we saw signs that it was just not going to work. So it was just shocking that it happened the way that it did. But it was a blessing. He has other work, so it's a lot more flexible. So it's been really nice to be able to have him and not be in so much pain due to how his old boss was handling things. So sometimes being fired and let go isn't a horrible thing. We thankfully have the ability to not have that job and still be able to keep what we need and have. So it's gonna be a little stressful just because we also ended up having a leak over this nasty weather. Not as bad as other people. Oh my gosh, I've been seeing some people have horrific flooding in their houses. So thankfully it was just our closet and our laundry room, which is still going to be quite a bit of work, but not as bad as what it could have been. So I'm going to be posting a little bit of that. Otherwise, this was just a little get to know me and an uninterrupted chit chat. So I hope you all have a great and blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.